can. All right, so hello, Twitch, YouTube, showcase time. We're back at it again. PO never sleeps, except right now when it's not exactly a great metagame choice, but we're gonna play it anyways because we're Justin. Yay! This is technically S for PO, but it's a little bit of more blue-black PO than anything. So this is a 3-island build. I do think that having at least 2 islands is important right now, and due to ghost quarters and assassin trophies and things like that. But I'm trying a 3-island build today. We're trimming 1 tundra because the only white spell we're playing is Monastery Mentor. In the board I have another balance, but I think that's another card where you can just play 1 tundra. You also have a Caracas, so we're playing multiple Soul Guide Lanterns, no clunky 3 drops. We are playing the clunky 4 drop. I think it's worth it to get another win condition threat in here. I think that's fine. I've always been searching for a 14th artifact, low cost artifact for PO. We're trying Soul Guide Lantern today, especially with the uptick in Dredge and Hogak style decks. This might be bad. By all means, this might be bad. Maybe it's supposed to be a top or a key or something. I'm not really sure. We're playing 1 Preordained. We were going to play 2 Preordained, but then we decided to play the Soul Guide Lantern instead. So it's going to be 2 Preordained, 2 Night Whisper, and the rest is a pretty typical Esper Shell. We have a Karn sideboard. That's pretty reasonable. And also, a bunch of Dredge hate. I'm not playing Sphinx of the Steel Wind this time. I think some decks have adapted to it. And I also think that Blysocolossus is enough better against Dredge and Shops, which are both on the uptick, to play Blightsteel instead of Sphinx of the Steel Wind again. 2 Flusterstorms, pretty normal. The full set of Hurkles, balance, I think is still pretty good right now. And then because I don't have any extra Tundras, I can't play cards like Swords to Plowshares or Camball. So we're playing Karn, Scion of Urza as our classic grindy card. Colorless, can't be Pyroblasted. You just take it up against Jeskai, you just take it up a bunch and draw a bunch of cards. So anything happen in chat while I was spewing? Yeah, no Camball because we don't have 2 Tundras. I think that's not really reasonable. We can't change the Merchant Scroll because there are no black border Merchant Scrolls on Magic Online besides the foil 8th edition, which I cannot find. It's very hard to find, and when you do find it, it's like pretty expensive for no reason. So this is the only Merchant Scroll you have. There is like a special pirate Merchant Scroll, but it's not available on Magic Online, so you can't get that one. How's it going, Chris? We're gonna play some PO like we do whenever there's actual stakes in a Magic tournament, apparently. This is the build. We just talked about it for a couple minutes. I think we're ready to jump right in. Let's begin. So we're playing against Sing Pan Man, who is a extremely good extremely good Doomsday pilot. Not Discover N, but one of the more powerful Doomsday players. Let's see if they are still in fact on Doomsday as we enter round 1 of the Vintage Showcase. Yeah, this hand is no good. No fast mana. Obviously, this is obviously Force of Will, Mental Misstep is good versus PO, but we have, this is a dead card. This is pretty dead, and this is just a pitch to force, so we're gonna put this away. This hand is much better. We can put away the repeal. I think what we want to do is go for Night's Whisper on turn 1. I think that's what I want to do. I have some options, though. I also have Ponder with a fetch land. I'm definitely putting away the repeal. If I suspect my opponent's on Doomsday, then these other cards are a bit better. We're looking to probably try to Tinker on turn 2. So I have options. I really do have options. I can go Tundra, Sapphire, Night's Whisper. I can go Sapphire, Ponder without playing a fetch land. Take the best card, fetch away, and then look to do like an end step Mystical. Maybe that is better. I kind of think that's better. So what kind of cards am I looking for, though? One of the problems with Ponder is I want a Mystical for Tinker, right? But I also want to find Force of Will. So if I Ponder here, I lose my blue card for Force of Will because I'm probably going to Mystical for Tinker, which leads me to want to Night's Whisper. I don't know if that's a good way to think about it, but that's the kind of thing that's going through my head right now. And I'm still so I can't mystical on my upkeep for Tinker unless my Night's Whisper draws a mana source of any kind. So maybe that's also something to consider. I don't really know if I like that line of thinking. My gut instinct is I'm supposed to cast Night's Whisper here, but I could be wrong, and Ponder might be better. So let's see what we got here. Force of Will, Mentor, sure. Mentor not at its best versus Doomsday, but it's okay. Force of Will is kind of exactly what we're looking to do. So I can't mystical for geez, that's probably bad for me. What could I even do though? Like I'm gonna have to probably mystical for ancestral. I could let this resolve. Could let this resolve and then mystical for ancestral. Like if they go for a cantrip here. They go for a cantrip. Like if they go for ancestral, I force the ancestral. And then I have an ancestral backup. I'm gonna let this go. I think I'm not gonna win with this monastery mentor or like any kind of things that I'm doing. But there's a possibility I can win with ancestral by targeting them. This also like negates if they have a Flusterstorm in their hand, because they might use this to cast a draw spell. So if they use this, they draw. We force the Lotus or something like that. Trying to look at their cards. Trying to find all the dazes. I just had a force. Okay. Well. What am I gonna do? They had turn 1 kill with force backup. It's just so frustrating. Doomsday is so unreal. I mean, we we even drew the the Force of Will off the Night's Whisper. All right, well, can't do anything about that. Stone Cold Nutter Butters. All right, so against, I want Flusterstorms. Like kind of it. My sideboard here is not as good as some of my other PO sideboards have been. Like Karn's actually not good compared to like Camball, which is reasonable. I would of course face Doomsday the minute I take out Lavinia's. So I didn't actually talk about it in deck construction, but I took out Lavinia's because I don't think they're very good right now. Like they're good versus Dredge, obviously, but they're not very good against all the Xerox variants. Lavinia's at its best when there's like a PO metagame. Lavinia is very good against Doomsday though, so it's a little unfortunate that I don't have Lavinia's in my deck. So I have to find 2 cards that are worse than Flusterstorm. Hurkyl's Recall is an easy one, and Repeal is another easy one. I think I would rather have a Soul Guide Lantern than a Repeal. It's not like fantastic or anything, but maybe yeah, this does help me like hit Metalcraft and PO off, stuff like that. Like my cards are just like not very good versus why are you doing this, Magic Online? I'm not really prepared to beat Doomsday because I don't really think Doomsday is a huge metagame portion right now, so I think we have game. Like 3 Flusters is gonna help, but we kind of have to be pretty proactive. Yeah, they get to play weird things like 3 Flusterstorm, Dazes, main deck Mystical Dispute because they're just like such a well-oiled combo machine. It's just too much, too slow. This has a Force and a DT. Yeah, this is probably a keep. What am I bottoming though? What am I bottoming? Maybe I'm just bottoming Gataxian Probe, holding on to Merchant Scroll. Well, maybe I'm just gonna DT for something that kills them. I don't really. Well, I guess Merchant Scroll for Ancestral is really important. So maybe we just like let the probe go. It's the worst card here. Like it's definitely possible. I'm actually gonna go Underground Sea because there's a possibility I end of turn Brainstorm for like a less effective Brainstorm, just because I'm not gonna have any mana to fully utilize Brainstorm. Because I do think that up next turn I'm probably casting Merchant Scroll or DT. The problem with that line is if I don't draw other blue cards, then there's really no way I can Merchant Scroll for Ancestral because I need to keep a card for Force. Are we dead on turn 1 again? Oh, okay. So there's a duress. So this holding up Brainstorm plan seems reasonable. I'm gonna hide the Force of Will and give them the option between the 2 scrolls. Well, shit. All right, I'm gonna hide the Ancestral Recall and the DT. I'm gonna hide the Ancestral Recall and the DT and have them pick the scroll. No, I'm gonna hide. Yeah, I'm gonna hide the Ancestral Recall and the DT and have them pick scroll. Or they might pick one of the forces, I guess, but scroll getting Ancestral is probably not what they want. So, all right, so that went well. The question becomes: am I just casting this Ancestral right now? Or should I hold it and wait for this DT? Because I don't really want a DT after Ancestraling here. The reason being, I can just play into Daze for no reason. Maybe what I do is just hold on to it for now. Also plays into Force and Negation for no reason. Does play around Flusterstorm though. I mean, yeah, it does play around Fluster. I think it was possible I was supposed to Ancestral in my upkeep, but they're at 13 life. All right, so what's the best play here now? So something that I could have done. I almost think like there's a lot of value to a mental misstep here. One of the best cards is Narset. So what I can do is take a Narset now, threaten an Ancestral on their end step, and untap into a Narset. Unfortunately, none of these plays play around Daze just because I don't have enough mana. I could just take the Tinker, so I can just go for the Tinker line. Yeah, I understand that, but the Ancestral is like really important and really threatening to my opponent in a way where they can't make as many plays just knowing that I have this Ancestral. I guess they don't know it until they probe me, but I just think like playing into Force of Negation with your Ancestral for no reason is like kind of loose. I could see the argument to casting Ancestral in their upkeep to play around Flusterstorm a little bit, but so my options here are Narset because it's one of the best cards in the matchup. Tinker because it should win me the game. Mental Misstep because it's gonna just like compound on our current situation. Or I think those are the cards that the problem with Tinker and Narset is that they both run straight into Daze, which is something we just really can't play around. So then you're just weighing like Tinker versus Narset jamming. Not 100. I mean, I think both of them are technically going to be winning plays. Like I guess there's some like some amount of you could play Flusterstorm off of this DT as well. That's like pretty that hedge is pretty hard on my Ancestral being good enough. I don't believe that Sing Panman sides out Daze, but I could be wrong from my experience playing versus them. Could totally be wrong there though. It's happened before. Man, I don't know. Like I want to go with like Narset or Tinker, but it feels really greedy. Feels really greedy. I am gonna go for that though. Right. I mean, I think Narset might be better. Watery Grave. Thing. I guess this is anti-surgical on Underground Sea Tech. Is reasonable. Like, if opponent does nothing here, I don't really think I'm supposed to Ancestral. It feels like really bad. Is this just gonna be Doomsday? They Doomsday knowing that I have Ancestral Forces. So I might just be dead here. There's no way I'm forcing this, though. Like, there's no reason to force the Doomsday itself. They don't have a land drop to give, so they would have to have Gush in their hand already. Or, like, Lotus in their hand already, maybe. Or I guess they could have a third Street Wraith into Gush. I'm just thinking that, like, it's pretty hard for my opponent to win if I had taken Flusterstorm or Mental Misstep. Maybe, like, Flusterstorm is a lot better than Mental Misstep. All right, so they're just gonna pass the turn here. All right, so now I'm at a crossroads where obviously we can go for a winning Ancestral line, but it's highly likely that they'll build a pile that beats that. There's a Null Rod in their sideboard, as well as a Library of Alexandria in their deck. Interesting. And there's no Lotus in their pile. There's an Eliminate for possible Lavinias. I'm checking out their exile now. It looks like they're gonna have a Flusterstorm. They don't have. They're gonna go for Gush with Flusterstorm. They might not even go for Gush. They might just have something without it. I think it's pretty unlikely that my Ancestral will be able to I think it's like incredibly unlikely my Ancestral will be able to kill them while they're going off. If I draw a blue card, then I mean I think it will just get Flusterstormed is the biggest problem. Like I have forces, I could have two forces to protect it, but I think it's just gonna get Flusterstormed, and then I won't be able to win anyways. Like they almost certainly will have a Flusterstorm. Well, 1, 2, they'll have their third Flusterstorm. Yeah. So like the biggest problem I'm running into here is like if they have a Daze already in their hand, but I could just force it. I think I'm just supposed to end of turn Ancestral myself. I don't think we have a legitimate chance of fighting on the stack with Ancestral targeting them. So I'm going to try to win with my Tinker. I think we might have screwed up and we were supposed to go for Narset, but that's okay. So this is a force. So they have 2 cards. So I'm just going to force this back. I don't think there's any reason for me. Well, so I could get D. I guess what would be the reason I mean, there's really no reason not to. Well, if they're holding negation, would be the reason to not force this. And then we're purely relying on Tinker off the tops. They could be holding negation. And I don't want my Ancestral to resolve more than I want my Tinker to resolve. We're not pitching Tinker. That seems incredibly risky. We're just going to hold our forces for our Tinker, which is maybe more important than our Ancestral. All right. So does this change? I should just hold this. Because there's no 2-card combination that's going to beat this Tinker. I want to hold this in case I brick off the top. They could have double days, I guess. I immediately hit repeal with no 0 drops in play. No 0 drops in play. Yeah, but if they had dazes, they would have just dazed the Ancestral. They have Mystical Dispute Doomsday. That's not very good. All right, so if I find a... Okay, if I find a Time Walk is lethal. Actually, I just need to cast spells and just sack 10 permanents. Also really lethal. All right, Night's Whisper drawing through an island. Nice. I think it's funny that the repeal just had no targets. A PO? That should be... Now the repeal has targets. So if I just PO for 4 life, right? I don't think there's any way I'm picking up either of these. I guess I could just pick up the Mentor. No, I need the Mentor to get to 10 permanents. Let's just PO for no targets. That should do it, right? Should just do it. This is another 5 spells. Yeah, that should just do it. All right, so I can play 4 more spells, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's exactly enough. So let me just make sure. 4 spells, and plus the last top is 10 exactly. I think we played this pretty well. And even if we didn't, we have... Well, hold on. Why do I feel like I don't have enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 10 is the top. I think I have enough. I don't know why I feel like I don't have enough. Got him. That was freaking dope. That was really interesting game of Magic. Yeah. But I'm pretty. But I had deterministic lethal for 10 damage. So okay. How do I feel? How do I feel? I mean, I don't feel great, but 3 Flusterstorms is definitely better than nothing. Yeah, their hand was a lot less powerful this game, but I think only really because we drew Brainstorm, right? Like the Brainstorm hiding double spell. I don't know. Maybe that was such a weird game. Going back, I wonder if we would play it the same way. I can't imagine that I would. Really odd match. All right. I think we just run it back. I don't really like any of these cards on my sideboard for this particular matchup. It's just a metagame choice, Gooey. Sometimes you play Sphinx and sometimes you play Blightsteel. I thought for this weekend Blightsteel was better. I could bring in Blightsteel in this matchup as well, but I think like a Citadel should win it most of the time, so I don't really see a huge reason to. This hand's bad, I think. Mentor is really slow in this matchup unless you have a Lotus. You can just use that as a win con off Citadel. And I have no counter magic. I don't have multiple Moxen. I think this is just a mulligan. I really don't see any value in this keeping this hand. It's a good way to lose, I think. This hand is fine. Slow, but at least it has a force of will. I'm just gonna put this Mox Opal away, and we'll just try to find some action and more counter spells. Jet? I'm jealous. I don't even have a jet. Alright, well, rip the force of will. I assume. I can only assume we're ripping the force of will here. Should be interesting if they don't rip the Force of Will. I don't know what that would mean. Like, maybe you would take the Merchant Scroll for Ancestral. Yeah, it has to be Force of Will. All right, so 4 cards left in our opponent's hand. They have a bunch of mana. We drew an island, which is terrible. Oh, I forgot. I usually cut an island in this matchup to go down to 12 spells, but we just had no cards to bring in. I wonder if we could have... I guess we could have had a repeal instead of an island. Not that it would be any better here. I'm going to cast Preordain because next turn I can ponder with a fetch land or Merchant Scroll or something. But I think I'd rather just preordain here. Well, in Doomsday, your life total matters, so Duress is probably better most of the time. I'm getting flustered on my preordain? That would be really odd, wouldn't it? Maybe it's just a mystical dispute. Or maybe it's an end of turn. Okay, I'm getting flustered. Well, I hope they don't kill me. I hope Doomsday just doesn't murder me again. No. This is great. Nice, Null Rod. You turned off one of your mana. I have no artifacts. You can't go for Lotus kills. I love it. I love it. You can't make this up. I drew another land. I think I'm supposed to go for Ponder here. Brainstorm looks really good, as does Time Walk. I mean, Time Walk doesn't look great, but Brainstorm looks good. So I think we just draw into Time Walk. And then we'll Brainstorm, Time Walk, and then Merchant, I guess. Because the Brainstorm will let us put away the island. So I'm going to crack one of my lands so I don't draw the PO at all. Maybe I'm not supposed to Time Walk into, like, directly into Fluster like that. Maybe I don't even want to put away this island. Do I want this Time Walk? I feel like I want this Time Walk. I know for sure I don't want PO. Huh. So if I brainstorm, like, what am I trying to achieve, I guess, is the question. Maybe what I really want to do is just Time Walk to start. If they counter it, I don't care. If they don't counter it, I'm advancing my mana to play around Flusterstorm. Kind of seems better to me. Like, if they counter this, who cares? And if they don't, then I'm in an even better spot. Oh, that card's not a great draw, but I have a Brainstorm, so... Okay, these are good. So we just put the Soul Guide Lantern away. We put one of the fetch lands away. And we go for a scroll with Fluster backup. I guess we would lose the Flusterstorm War if they had a Flusterstorm. So maybe we're supposed to hold. I don't think we're supposed to hold the scroll, though, because we have a DT, so... I guess we don't even need to fetch, per se. Yeah, I mean, I think if they fight over this, then I don't care. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I could resolve this, but then I this is just fine, I think. They have 2 cards in hand. I have a DT. I'm just gonna get like a mentor and it'd be fine. I Drew the Soul Guide Lantern again. Well, I mean, I could get Ancestral and just Ancestral myself, but I have so many bad draws in my deck. Like, my deck is just mono bad draws because of the Null Rod. I mean, I could just get the Narset. Maybe the Narset's the right play. The Narset could be better than the Mentor here. I actually kind of dig that. Especially with them using the Dispute. Alright, I'm gonna get the Narset. I guess the Narset can't find Mentor, though, is kind of rough. They drew their island, so they can't cast Doomsday still. You love to see it. Blue Gush. Oh, Thassa's Oracle. Well, that's actually so good against Narset. Wow. That's so bad for me. I guess I punted by not getting Mentor. Eek. Maybe that was a misplay then. I just didn't think about hardcast Thassa's Oracle, I guess. No, they're not going to go for console. I think they're just playing it to look for a card. They did put a card on top of their library, so I think I can only activate this Narset once, probably. Hilarious draw. Narset. Yeah, but I mean, it's a line where they're so far behind. They were so heavily on Null Rod. I'm just gonna grab this Night's Whisper here. And then I'm going to, like, this is a little greedy, I think, but I think it's fine. I guess if they daze this, it's just like that's something they would do. I just wanted to turn on this Academy. All right, so I think they'll just attack Narset for a couple turns. I'm definitely not going to activate Narset next turn. I think that would be really greedy. Yeah, I don't think they would ever daze it. I'm just like thinking about things. If 3 cards in hand, force is reasonable here. All right, I'm definitely just going to cast Night's Whisper, use this time to advance my board. PO is actually going to be super reasonable. I can end of turn pick up this Narset. I can't play it with Flusterstorm back up this turn, but So they have so much cards in hand that they could just have like a bunch of Doomsdays. So if I can wait and then PO in their attack phase. Like would I pick up, would I force pitching Fluster over this? Oh, it's so weird. I don't have a lot of time just on my clock. I think considering I can draw another PO, this could be wrong. This could be really wrong. Especially runs into a free daze for no reason. This is bad. I shouldn't have done this. I should have done it in attack steps. It gives them another card though. That just resolved? Okay. How do I play this though? I mean, I think I'm just supposed to play a new Narset first. Should probe? I don't know. Probing with a Mentor in hand is a little silly, but I feel like just knowing what... Okay, opponent just has Mental Misstep, Preordained, Street Wraith. Okay, we don't care anymore. All right, so... Yeah, let's do Narset. Activate Narset. I'm losing a bunch of Mentor triggers, but I think it's fine. All right, I'm just going to take all these forces. Even though Tinker will probably win me the game, I think I'm just going to win from here, so I don't think it's worth it to... I'm just going to leave all of my open mana, because I just can't die from here, is what I'm saying. And I will win eventually. Like, next turn, we'll play Mentor first. I'm just gonna get a time walk. I guess they have mental misstep, so this will just get mental misstepped. That's fine. Mental misstep's gone. Street wraith's gone. So they have preordained lotus. Yeah, this null rod was really good for us. um, now they can't even kill this Narset. I think I'm just gonna use this now. No, I think that's fine. I think we'll just save this and just have full ability to do all kinds of things. Yeah, I think this is fine. I'm playing like super conservative here just because I think with a Narset mentor, there's just like no way we should reasonably lose with this counter magic suite. So I just don't want to play too hard into um my stuff. I mean, Null Rod can be very good against me in this matchup, but it was just a hand that didn't pan out that way. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Obviously, it didn't work out for them. All right, so now I have an active Narset, very lethal board. I have the ability to hard cast a Force of Will if I wanted to, or or pay for any amount of Flusterstorms. Exile Merchant Scroll, sure, whatever. They can't draw cards. This just looks really good for me. This island was really bad for them as well. I'm another. Yeah, I mean, if they have consult, then we would just counter it with Flusterstorm. So I guess I technically right now don't have a way to make lethal. If I activate my Narset. Wait, that's kind of awkward, right? I guess they don't have a way to kill me now though, because they don't have double Thassa. So I'm just gonna pass and just wait till I draw a spell. I guess I can attack with this, and then they kill one. I guess that doesn't even matter because I can't kill the Narset. So yeah, I'm just gonna attack all, lose one, and then make lethal next turn and have just all of my spells. Thanks for all the follows, everyone. Sorry, I've been very into trying to figure out how to play this game. It's been a very interesting match versus Doomsday, I have to admit. Mostly because they haven't killed me on turn one. When they killed me on turn one, it was not very interesting. Yeah, so this just puts them to 5. I guess it doesn't make lethal unless I draw a spell, but if I drew a spell next turn, then they would block and it wouldn't be lethal if I didn't attack, so it doesn't really make any sense not to attack. This is game 3, yeah, we're gonna win and get the first win of the round. Because I can't kill this Narset on the swing back anyways. I have like a million counter spells. They've already used both their oracles. Like, this is game's over. Yeah, that was cool. What an interesting game. Both games 2 and 3 were pretty crazy. There's no reason not to let this resolve. They can't draw any more cards this turn. They don't have any oracle. Oh, I guess they do have an oracle in their yard. I guess that does. Sorry, that does true. They do have an oracle. They just can't draw cards this turn though. So I guess they're gonna go in for if they have a time walk in their hand, which we just haven't answered. I really just don't see any reason to do anything. Like, they have to cast spells to win. Like, we know they have Black Lotus Preordain in their hand still, so they can only have 2 other cards. So if their other card is Time Walk, we just counter it. And us putting any spell on the stack means that even if they time walked, like double attacked through, it wouldn't work. So yeah, all right, cool. All right, that was a pretty crazy way to start this tournament. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was pretty wild. Welcome everybody. Hope you enjoyed that epic match of blue magic. Null Rod did nothing, as was intended. I think they were just like running out of options, right? That game could have been really hard if my paradoxical outcome didn't resolve on the Narset to replay. 124 players is nope. It is 7 rounds. 7 rounds. Yeah, Null Rod was more of a hindrance to my opponent than it was to me in that match, which is not typically how it works, but I'll take it. All right, that was crazy. That was wild. Yeah, I like that it's 7 rounds because I would much rather play only 7 rounds, but it does mean that early losses are really gonna hurt, and there will be a bunch of there won't be as many X2s making it in. There might not be any X2s making it in. It might just be you lose your second round and you're out. If I do this, it's possible depending on it's possible one might make it depending on pair downs. Pretty wild. All right.